Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. We have another great show for you today. First, we have some progress in the Mickey Stines case, even if it is just administrative. Luigi Mangioni's mom, well, she thinks her son is capable of what he's accused of. Best friends of the man accused of killing his wife, Suzanne Simpson, well, he got indicted. I guess that's a case of no good deed goes unpunished. The mother of Madison Mogen speaks out, and apparently she's not too impressed with the legal system. And do you remember that woman who was convicted of dismembering her boyfriend? Well, she's got some more trouble. Shocking. And we have the This Day in Legal History segment and our Dumb Criminal of the Day. Let's talk about it.
Hi, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, hit that little bell for notifications, and yes, you can check us out anytime on any of your favorite podcasting apps. So, we're casual today. Why? First, no court. Second, had to go attend ground school so I can get back into Crime Talk 1. I think it's just about done. Cannot wait. Anyway, need to go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for that background subscription service today. I'm telling you, if there is somebody you want to check out, anyone in the United States, sign up for this background subscription service, and you will be able to do as many background searches as you desire, and you're going to get all kinds of information. And you're going to be shocked. And it's going to say, hey, I've searched this person. Why do I have 7 emails associated with a particular individual? Well, probably because that individual has all his Tinder accounts, his Bumble accounts, all for different emails. Well, you're going to be able to find out, and you can maybe ask them, why do you have all these accounts, these email accounts that you haven't told your significant other about? You're going to find out if somebody has a criminal history. Do they have to be on one of those public registries? Do they have debts? Are they married? Are they divorced? Things you want to know, ladies and gentlemen. Go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up today. I'm telling you, you're going to be happy you did. It could save your life. All right, let's go ahead and open the record for December 18th of 2024. The Chief Justice of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, a justice named Lawrence B. Van Meter, has announced the appointment of a special judge and a circuit court clerk to oversee the case of the Commonwealth of Kentucky versus Shawn Stines. That's right. That is the ex-sheriff who killed the judge. The special judge for this case is Circuit Judge Christopher T. Cohen, whose regular jurisdiction covers Edmonds and Warren counties in the 8th Judicial Circuit. Now, Judge Cohen will preside over the case until its conclusion. Additionally, Courtney Shoemaker, the Circuit Court Clerk of Boyle County in the 47th Judicial District, has been appointed as the special clerk on the case. Now, obviously, Shawn Mickey Stines, the former Letcher County Sheriff, faces charges of murder of a public official in connection with the fatal shooting of Letcher District Court Judge Kevin Mullins back in September of 2024. Now, obviously, the ex-sheriff, Mickey Stines, is charged with the murder of a public official, carries potentially the death penalty. No position has been made by that ruling as it relates to whether they're going to go forward on that with the court as of yet. Probably won't, but we'll see. Judge Stines, he's in a tricky spot. The video speaks for itself. No self-defense, maybe heat of passion, if you can come up with something really, really good. But it has to be something at that very moment, not something you're aware of down the road and you just really get upset about it at this particular moment. We'll see. I don't know. I think he may need to get comfy spending the rest of his life in prison. And hey, I'm a defense guy. I'd be willing to come up with anything for the guy, but sometimes you got to deal with the facts as they are. Next, Luigi Mangioni. Now, he has appeared today, or is intending to appear tomorrow in Pennsylvania. Apparently, he has agreed to waive extradition to New York. This is just breaking news. And then on top of that, he will have to show up tomorrow, and they will see what Kentucky is going to do with the charges against him there. You know, he's got the possession of the ghost gun, the silencer, and the possession of forged insurance. My guess is my guess is that the state of Pennsylvania will dismiss those charges so that Luigi Mangione can go deal with the more serious charges in New York. He could be in New York as early as Thursday afternoon after the hearing in Pennsylvania. So Luigi Mangione's mother made a admission to the police before the suspected assassin was in fact arrested. Now, the NYPD had been searching for the man who killed CEO Brian Thompson at point blank range for several days, and they released surveillance images of the suspected shooter. Well, one image of the suspect with his mask down caught the attention of a San Francisco police officer who had been searching for Mangione since his mother, Kathleen, reported him missing back in mid-November. She claimed that she had not spoken to her son since July 1st and noted that he worked for the San Francisco-based TrueCar, an online automotive marketplace, apparently not realizing that he had been laid off back in 2023. Well, upon recognizing the suspect, the police officer called the FBI and provided the Bureau with Mangione's name, prompting New York officers to work alongside the FBI's task force to call Kathleen, the mother. They had a conversation with her where she didn't indicate that that was, in fact, her son in the photograph, but she said it might be something that she could see him doing. That's not good. Now, would that statement necessarily come in at court? Probably not. It's really speculation. So it's not really going to hurt him, but it just kind of goes to the point that maybe they got the right guy. We'll see. Anyway, it was noted in the conversation that it happened very late on December 7th, and the information was passed on to the New York police the next morning, but he wasn't arrested until December 9th when he was arrested eating at McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Now, as we brought you yesterday, we went through it in great detail, and on our live last night, we went through the indictment as well. But Luigi Mangione has since been indicted on murder charges as an act of terrorism for Mr. Thompson's death. Now, I think that is a complete overcharging of the case, and the first two counts deal with terrorism. I don't think those are going anywhere. But the second-degree murder, count 3, and all the other charges are appropriate in this particular case. But under New York law, such a charge can be brought when an alleged crime is intended to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policies of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, and affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping. That's the part why I think it's totally overcharged. I mean, the victims would be the people that work for the insurance company. The government? Really? I just don't see it. Anyway, check out our conversation last night on the live. We went into much greater detail about that. And like I said, for those unfamiliar, obviously the CEO was shot dead as he walked to a Manhattan hotel for an investor conference that was taking place. Now, Mangione has 2 court hearings scheduled for Thursday in Pennsylvania, including the extradition hearing, and he's apparently not expected to fight that, as I just told you about. Apparently, he's agreed to sign that, which means he could be back in New York as of Thursday, being arraigned on the indictment. Now, Mangione probably needs to avoid arguing over his guilt and focus on mitigation to get a lesser sentence, as we talked about last night. Maybe there's some sort of emotional issue that they can argue as mitigation. After all, he does come from a rich family, so it's more likely that the district attorney will listen to what the family and Mr. Mangione's attorneys have to say, since they hired the big hotshot attorney in New York, who was a prosecutor for some 20 years and has spent the last 3 years in private practice. Now, as we've also mentioned in the past, police say that they found a manifesto outlining Mangione's grievances with or against United Healthcare. And to save a lengthy investigation, he apparently wrote out that I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. And the early elementary social engineering took place, basic CAD, and a lot of patience, he allegedly wrote in the manifesto. He went on to say that he had respect for federal investigators and apologized for causing any traumas, but seemed to defend his alleged actions. He wrote in there, frankly, these parasites had it coming, in the manifesto. Now, the police were able to match the gun found on old Luigi with the shell casing recovered at the scene and his fingerprints, with a water bottle and an energy bar wrapper found nearby. Now, following the news of the arrest, Mangione's family has released a statement saying they were shocked and devastated, and they offer their prayers to the family of Brian Thompson and they ask for prayers for everyone involved. And they were, in fact, devastated by this news. Well, not to be outdone, Luigi Mangione has some fans, and some diehard Luigi Mangione fans have branded charges against him as a witch hunt after he was charged formally with murder as an act of terrorism. Now, support for Mangione has been mounting following the killing of the CEO, with the internet ghouls sharing experiences denouncing the health insurance industry and their support for Mangione as the hot assassin. Some people have described Luigi Mangione as a prisoner of the state and decrying the conditions that he is being held in Pennsylvania. There's also been $150,000 to cover potential legal fees if Mangione and his family want it. Now, in the wake of the latest charges against Mangione, like I said, these supporters have denounced the criminal system as a persecution. One supporter on X wrote that this is a witch hunt in the prosecution's case against the alleged shooter, and it's disgusting. It makes one person resent that they even live in New York. Another person on X shared an image of a new tattoo that they received, which displays 3 bullets with the words defend, deny, and depose. On each of them, there's even been some cartoon images depicting Mangione as a martyr that have gone viral. Others have expressed that they believe Mangione should not be prosecuted at all. One person said, I think he did it, but I personally wouldn't convict him if I was on the jury. That'll be a good defense witness, but if you say that, you'll never get on the jury. All right, next on the docket, the business partner of the husband of missing Suzanne Simpson has been indicted after text messages have come to light. So James Cotter, the longtime business partner of Brad Simpson, was officially charged yesterday in the case of the missing Almost Park mom, Suzanne Clark Simpson. He was indicted by a grand jury on charges of tampering with evidence with the intent to impair investigation and possession of prohibited weapons, according to the Bexar County court records. The indictment was handed down from the 186th court in Bexar County. Now, Cotter posted bond on November 8th after having his bond reduced from $1 million to $100,000 with bond conditions such that he can't have contact with Brad Simpson and he cannot possess any firearms and he must wear a GPS monitor. Now, Cotter is accused of entering Brad Simpson's home and go to a gun room on October 8th at his friend's urging and remove an AK-47 that was illegally modified and hiding it in his own home, according to the police. Now, the firearm, which the Fed said was modified into a machine gun, was not properly registered. Now, Cotter's attorney had asked the judge to reduce his bond, calling it unconstitutional because it was so high. And he was also quite critical of the jail conditions that Mr. Cotter was having to live in. Now, Brad Simpson, the friend in this particular case, remember, ladies and gentlemen, if your friend asks you to go move guns and his wife shows up missing, only thing you should be doing is going straight to the police if you were in fact silly enough to go do that. So anyway, in this case, the husband, Brad Simpson, has been charged with Suzanne Simpson's murder. And while authorities have not found Suzanne Simpson's body, sources have said that they believe that they have enough evidence to charge Brad Simpson in her death. According to police, Suzanne Simpson's family was told that her DNA was found on a reciprocating saw that Brad Simpson allegedly tried to conceal. The information became available 2 days after Brad Simpson was indicted on multiple charges, including murder. In the indictment, investigators mentioned for the first time that Brad Simpson allegedly attempted to hide a reciprocating saw. The tool is a handheld electric saw that can be used in various applications, like, I don't know, maybe chopping up bodies. Anyway, last week, a judge issued a gag order in the case, and the Bexar County District Court judge issued the order to ensure that a fair trial and not to taint the potential jury pool before the trial begins. That ruling came a day after Simpson's first court appearance. Now, Simpson is expected to be back in court on Thursday for a bond modification hearing. Let me tell you how that's going to go. Denied. His next scheduled hearing is then for April of 2025. Now, Suzanne Simpson was a real estate agent and mother of 4 and was reported missing October 7th, one day after she was last seen outside her home. And a neighbor told police that he saw Brad and Suzanne Simpson in a physical altercation outside their home on October 6th. That's according to the arrest affidavit. Earlier that day, witnesses said the couple had been in a fight at the Argyle's, which is a dinner club in Alamo Heights, And extensive searches, including sweeps of the Olmos Park as well as a landfill in southeast Bexar County, have so far not yielded Miss Simpson's remains. Like I said, her whereabouts are unknown. That's going to be an interesting one, ladies and gentlemen. I think the good friend who went into the house and got the gun and moved, totally going to roll on his buddy. This guy doesn't want to go to prison for involvement in a murder case. He's going to cut a deal and testify against the husband. Mark my words on that one. Don't doubt me. Next, the mother of one of the victims in the Brian Kohberger matter speaks out, and she is not a big fan of the legal system. So here we are 2 years after the brutal murder of 4 University of Idaho students, and one of the parents of the victims is speaking out for the first time. Karen Laramie, the mother of Madison Mogen, appeared on the Today Show speaking to the hosts about her daughter's legacy and the delayed trial for Brian Kohberger, the man accused of killing her daughter and 3 others. So after the host asked Laramie for her thoughts on the pushback trial date, which is still now 8 months away, Miss Laramie replied, "I don't have a whole lot of comments on that. I would say that the legal system is not about the victims, and I'll leave it at that." Seems reasonable. I can completely understand where she is coming from as the mother of a victim in a particular case. You want justice. I totally understand that. But you have to be patient. It will come, ma'am. It will come. Brian Kohberger is going to get a fair trial. We'll see if the prosecution can prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. We talked about it at length last night on our live program. They've got problems. All those motions to suppress, all that DNA, the defense has problems. So, ma'am, I think you're going to get your justice. You just need to be patient. I could not imagine losing a child in such a way. My heart goes out to you. But be patient. Justice is coming. And then you have to know he has received a great defense. It may not be enough, but if he receives that great defense and he gets found guilty and he gets the death penalty, you know it's going to stand up on appeal. So be patient, ma'am. Justice is coming. Got to be patient. Anyway, Miss Laramie is continuing Madison's legacy with her friend Angela Navejas, the mother of another of Madison's friends, and they have started the Made with Kindness Foundation to promote the way that Madison lived her life. Madison was obviously one of the 4 students, including Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Zaina Kernodle, who were murdered back in November of 2022. Where they were all stabbed to death in their off-campus home. Then on December 30th of 2022, Brian Kohberger was arrested in connection with the student's death. He was indicted by a grand jury for all the deaths as well as a burglary charge. He has entered pleas of not guilty, or the court did that for him, and he has waived speedy trial. And the trial is not scheduled to begin until August 11th of 2025. So do you remember that woman that chopped up her boyfriend and put various parts in various pots and pans in a bucket in the house? Remember her name? Taylor Shaw Business? That's right. The woman convicted of killing and dismembering a man inside a Green Bay home in Wisconsin is now facing new charges. Taylor Shaw Business is serving a life sentence at a correctional institution up there near Fond du Lac, I think I pronounced that correctly, for the February 2022 murder of Shad Thyron. Now, according to the new criminal complaint, on July 24th, Shaw Business requested medical attention for a staple that lodged in her arm after she reportedly fell. A sergeant at the correctional institution, later referred to as the victim in the complaint, handcuffed Taylor and took her to the medical room to meet with a nurse. The nurse, according to the arrest affidavit, the nurse states that Shawbank was laughing the entire time, and when the nurse asked what was so funny, Shawbank responded that nothing was funny. The nurse then warned Shaw Business that it might hurt a little bit, and she approached with tweezers. But as soon as the tweezers made contact with the staples on Shaw Business's arm, she pushed the nurse out of the way and lunged out of her chair at the nurse. At that time, the victim, the correctional officer, stepped in so the nurse could safely exit the room. Shaw Business and the victim apparently then struggled with a medical tray, which at one point was swung at the correctional officer, per the complaint. Anyway, the victim, the sergeant, the correctional officer, stated her head was hit, she was bruised, she had bruised ribs, and her arm hurt as well. Additionally, the officer was exposed to pepper spray during the altercation. Well, now Ms. Shaw is facing 1 count of battery by a prisoner and she has a preliminary hearing set for February 7th. Now, since she is serving a life sentence, it really doesn't matter. She'll probably go to court just for the sport of it. And what are they going to do? Take away her some good time or something? She's got a life sentence. That's kind of the problem when somebody's serving a life sentence. They really don't care at that point anymore when they're in custody. But this situation reminds me of a story of a client who ultimately wound up dead when he bled out, when he bonded out of custody and was shot by police in another jurisdiction. But he was in court, and I represented him after this incident, I should say, but the transcript is quite funny. And the gentleman said to the judge, I want a new prosecutor on my case because that biatch is over there trying to kill me. And that particular prosecutor was very aggressive. And the judge said, "Excuse me?" And the defendant, client, soon-to-be client, said, "What do you need, some new battery in those bell tones?" referring to the judge's hearing aids. Whereupon the client then charged the bench, then jumped over the podium area where she was sitting behind the judge. Officers came in, arrested my client. The client resisted, and the officer, while taking out his handcuffs and putting them on my client, cut himself with his own handcuffs. And my client was then charged with second-degree assault because the officer cut himself. Well, needless to say, he got bonded out because there were some videos of some abuse that had taken place. Unfortunately, he left town and did something silly and then got shot and should have taken a left turn to go to the hospital, but he took a right turn and bled out. You just can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. And it's weird what some things will spark your memory of various cases. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that little tangent that we went off on. Next on the docket, this day in legal history. On December 18th, 1944, the United States Supreme Court decided that Korematsu versus United States, and it upheld the wartime relocation of Japanese Americans to internment camps. That was an Executive Order 9066 issued by President Roosevelt on February 19th, 1942, under which the internment camps were authorized. And on this date in 1917, that's right, the United States Congress passed the 18th Amendment, initiating prohibition by banning the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors. Well, we know how that turned out, right? They had to repeal it just a few years later because, well, it wasn't having any effect. And on this date in 2019, the U.S. House of Representatives impeached President Donald Trump on charges of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, making him the third president in the United States history to be impeached. Obviously, the impeachment proceedings failed in the Senate. How did that work out for everybody? And finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Take a look at this video. 5 armed suspects picked up the wrong target in Houston. An armored truck crew fought back after a heavy gunfight took place during an ATM refill. When the getaway driver bailed, leaving 4 of his buddies behind, they carjacked a woman's car in quite the panic mode. Police found both ditched vehicles nearby, but the crew slipped away. Now, this all took place about 3:30 in the afternoon. And fortunately, the shootout ended with no one getting injured. But these guys all look like a bunch of amateurs, and they learned the hard way. Oh, yeah, that's right. Armored truck crew drivers, they're armed, and they shoot back. All right, that's all we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk. And remember, the Constitution matters.